Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, so it is time for weigh-in and meeting topic. Weigh-in was not nice. It's no one's fault but my own. I did really well through most of the holiday season. I had a little gain 2 weeks ago. Last week I didn't weigh, and this week I was up 2 more pounds. I'm not surprised. No excuses. It was 100% me. I don't know what it is when the boys are home. I lost all my weight with my boys home. But now that they're not home all the time and then they come home, it's special and I treat it as being special. I can't do that. This is ridiculous. Last week just sucked. I have no excuses. I have no words of wisdom. It just sucked. Way too much snacking, way too many cookies, way too much, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Yeah, it wasn't. And I knew that. I knew it. But I cannot let that set me into a tailspin. I cannot let that set me into a downward spiral. I need to focus, which I have, and get back to what I need to be doing. I need to do it because number one, I gained weight, and number two, I don't feel good. And I don't feel good because I put so much crap into my body. When you are not used to eating the things I was eating, mostly sugar in big amounts, and like we had a lot of charcuterie boards, so a lot of the cured processed meat. We don't eat that. We're not used to that. It actually felt good the last 2 days just getting back to how we eat. Everything is out of the house. All of the cookies and the candy and all that, it's gone. Doug took it to work because Doug's up a couple pounds too. He's up like 4 pounds since he only weighs once a month, and he did like 4 pounds in December. So it's both of us, and we're both very focused on getting back on track and starting to feel better. Like I said, I have no excuses. I have no words of wisdom. It is what it is, but we can't let that derail us. We have to stop, and we have to think about what's happening, and we have to think about where we've been and where we're going. And that's enough right there for me. And it's funny, like nuts were a huge problem for me. Oh my gosh, I was eating nuts like there was no tomorrow. Yeah. Nuts are good for you. But like everything else, nuts are good in moderation. And I was eating way more than I should have. They're gone. So our house is reset food-wise. It is reset food-wise. After this weekend, when Christmas is over, it'll be reset house-wise, and it just feels like a new beginning. Like I said, the pantry has already been reset, so we're back to eating good, whole, nourishing foods. Excuse me. So that being said, up 2 pounds. Next week I'll see a loss. Probably not a huge one, but a loss. Guarantee that. So let's get on to the meeting topic. It is how to build a tracking routine. Tracking is important. I know I hate it. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I hate it. And I track in 2 apps. So I hate it. I feel anchored to it. I feel tied to it. But that said, if you don't track, you don't know. I've proved that this last week. I only had a quarter cup of nuts. No, you didn't, Joni. You had a freaking cup of nuts. But you didn't measure it and you didn't track it, so you don't know. True story. True story. I am 100% truthful with you guys. I am not going to lie. Yep. Tracking sucks, but we have to do it. We do. You ask anyone who has been successful for the long term on any weight loss plan. It's because they measure, they weigh, and they track. And that's what we need to do. And that's what I need to get back to. And I did. I got right back to it this week. So let's see what WW has to say about it. Pop quiz. What are 3 things that you do every day without even thinking? Maybe it's brushing your teeth, making the bed, or checking your email. To reap the weight loss benefits of tracking, just make it another part of your routine. Try this. Which tracking style makes it feel easier for you? Number 1, track an entire day's food at once or track as you go. Number 2, saving often tracked foods and meals or tracking from scratch every time. And 3, tracking before or during or after you eat. I do a combination of all 3. I am not going to lie. If we have something special coming up, I generally track my whole day of food at once because I want to know, or at least I track up to the, let's say we're going to dinner out. I will track my breakfast and my lunch first thing in the morning so I know exactly the points I have left to spend when we go out. So sometimes I do it that way. Other times I know exactly what I'm having for the entire day, and I want to put it in my tracker because I'm less likely to change my tracker. So I'll put the whole day in. Saving often tracked foods and meals. That I don't do too much. And I don't use the app to its full potential. I know I don't. I don't save meals. I do save foods. I do put foods in and I do save foods. So I guess you could say I do a little bit of that too. I think I have a couple breakfasts in there, like my breakfast sandwich I have in there because it's the same every single time. So I do a little bit of that. And then tracking before or during or after you eat. We all do that. I am sure that all of us do some part of that. I try not to do it after because I don't like surprises. I try to do it before. And when I do my weekly menu, you've seen my menu plans, I put my points on the paper. So I actually kind of pre-track my whole week if you think about it. Does it always work out exactly as planned? No, especially with lunch because lunch is a hot mess in my house. Half the time I don't even eat lunch because I'm not hungry for lunch. So it doesn't always work out, but if it's there in front of my face and I can see it, it makes a difference. So you don't have to pick one tracking style. You can do a combination of all 3. It comes down to picking what works for you. And we are all different. What works for me may not work for you. What works for somebody else may not work for you. You have to find your style, you have to find what works for you, and you have to stick with it. It says, what strategies have worked well for you? Taking pictures of meals to track later, tracking at certain times of the day, using the barcode scanner, using the quick add feature to guesstimate points, or something else. Once again, I've done all of these things. Tracking is a tool to help us on our journey, and it is a very important tool. But just like your toolbox at home, you don't just have one screwdriver. You have 10 different screwdrivers. You have different sizes. You have different heads. You have the flathead, the Phillips head. You have big screwdrivers and little screwdrivers, and you have all kind of stuff. That's what tracking is. There's not one way to do it right every single time. You're out. You don't want to pull out your phone and track because you're with friends, you're with family. It's not an occasion where you want to be distracted by your phone. You snap a picture. Save it for later. Track it for later the best you can. Tracking at certain times during the day. Like I said, you can track all of it in the morning. You can track all of it at night. You can track as you go. There's no rules. Using the barcode scanner. That's huge. The barcode scanner is huge, especially if you buy a lot of foods at the grocery store. I don't use the barcode scanner a lot because we really don't buy foods that have a barcode. I make my bread, so it's a recipe I have to put in. Fruits and vegetables don't have a barcode. Meat really doesn't have a barcode when you get it from the butcher. So I don't use that a whole lot. I'm trying to think when the last time I've used it. I really don't know. But the barcode is phenomenal if you buy already prepared foods or, foods from the grocery store. I think that is the single best feature of the WW app is that barcode to scan. So use it. Spend extra time in the grocery store and scan your food. Find something that is a better value for your point dollars but has the good ingredients. You might be surprised. Using the quick add feature to guesstimate points. I do this a lot, especially if we are out. I don't always know the exact points, but I can pretty much break it down. I have a dish in front of me that's chicken and vegetables. Well, I know they're 0. Well, it has this sauce on it, and this sauce has honey and something else, and there was about 2 tablespoons of it. You can break it down, especially if you've been doing this for a while. You can break it down, you can figure out your points, and you can just put it in as a quick add. And some things I just know the points on, and it's sometimes easier to do a quick add. Use all the features of your app. Use what works for you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be a combination. There's very few instances in our life where we only have tunnel vision for one thing. Your weight loss does not have to be one of them, because I'm going to tell you, if it is, you're going to get bored. You're going to get bored, and then you're going to resent it, and then you're not going to do it. So don't be afraid to change up things. Even your tracking. As long as you're tracking, you're not doing it wrong. Let me change that. As long as you are honest tracking. Did you eat a whole cup of nuts, but you only tracked a quarter cup? That's fine. You're lying to no one but yourself. Because guess what? Your butt and your hips know that you ate it. The scale knows that you ate it. Just because you didn't put it in your app doesn't mean you didn't eat it. So honest tracking, no matter how you choose to do it, just do it. It says now, use your answers to determine a tracking routine. How you'll create a tracking routine. I'll track meals and snacks as I go, and I'll use the barcode scanner. I'll save favorites, and I'll guesstimate points when needed. When is the best time to track? I'll set aside a few minutes after every meal to track. Personally, I really think you should track before you eat it. You have to remember, bite it before you write it. Track it before you snack it. There's a whole bunch of them. I definitely think tracking beforehand gives us a better picture. Because once again, we have this perception. Sometimes we don't think we eat as much as we do. And then all of a sudden you're tracking it and it's like, oh, it was a lot more points than I thought it was going to be. I've done it. I've been there. We have portion distortion and I'm telling you to do what works for you, but I am encouraging you to track before you eat it. Put your food on your plate, measure it out, and track it. If you're the type of person that feels like they need to go back for seconds, only put half your allotted food on your plate, and then you can feel like you are going back for seconds. It's a mind game, but it works. It does. Another thing that I have found, and I found this, once the boys moved out, a lot of times Doug and I will not eat family style. Like, I don't put everything in bowls and bring it to the table if it's just us. I find that if I fill our plates in the kitchen from the pots or the casserole dish, I'm not getting back up to go back in the kitchen and get more. If it's on the table, I'm taking a forkful. I'm taking a forkful. I'm taking a forkful. But if I have to get up and go in the kitchen, then I'm done. I take my plate, I put it in the dishwasher, I am done. It's little tricks like this, friends, that help us on this journey. That got a little off the tracking track, but it's, it is what it is. So they say, let's dive a little deeper. We talk a lot about tracking. And if you're new around here, get ready to hear it a lot because the science is crystal clear. People who track more often lose more weight. Why? Tracking makes you aware of what and how much you're eating, and awareness is the key to making small but meaningful changes. What's tricky? Tracking takes time and effort, and we humans are more likely to do stuff that is easy. So leaning into what makes tracking feel seamless for you helps you stick with it. Some other tracking hacks: set guidelines and reminders. For example, if you track after every meal, open the app as soon as you clear your plate. For all at once trackers, try setting an alarm on your phone for a time that works for you. Forget perfection. Tracking consistently with fewer details is better than getting burned out trying to log every single bite, ingredient, and exact portion. I don't quite agree with that, the way that is worded. Forget perfection, yes, but you have to track every bite, and you have to track every ingredient, and you have to track the exact portion, because if not, you're not honest tracking. You dropped the ball on that one, Weight Watchers. You don't have to do perfection, but you have to be accurate. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it accuracy, not perfection. As you start this year, sharpening or creating habits around the most effective weight loss behaviors, like tracking, helps pave your way to success. After all, we like things that are easy, right? A few focused goals feel a lot easier and more doable than attempting to make over your whole routine. Very true. So start tracking. Just start tracking. Start weighing and measuring and tracking, and let the other things come naturally. Because once you start tracking and once you start seeing your food, seeing how much you are eating and how many points or how many calories, it's going to be an eye-opener. And that is like, I think, the best tool to help motivate you into the next step and into the next step. If you watched my goals and intentions video, it was honest tracking. I am pretty good at honest tracking, but I just always have to remind myself because it's so easy not to. It is so easy not to. It is. And once you fall into that habit sticks. Why do the bad habits stick much better than the good habits? I don't know. So it says, did you know that more than 74% of WW Success Registry members, that's a person who has lost their weight at least 20 pounds and maintained it for a year. That's the Success Registry. Reported tracking points most of the time. So yes, it is proven tracking is a key to being successful. It is. And yes, I double track. I said that in the beginning. I track points and calories. I started that, 6-9 months ago because I was struggling. Actually, it was probably about 9 months ago because it was several months after Personal Points came out and I was struggling. And I was finding that I was not eating nearly enough calories, but consuming all my points. So I started double tracking to make sure that I was hitting my calorie goal. Excuse me, it is very early in the morning. I apologize for that. That was so incredibly rude, but it was not. I couldn't suppress it. So if you are struggling, maybe try double tracking. I know it's a whole lot more work, but maybe try it and see and just make sure. I kind of stopped double tracking for a little while, like end of November, beginning of December, all of December. So I'm back to double tracking just to make sure I am where I need to be. And I find that as long as I use all of my daily points, all of my weekly points, and my exercise points, that I hit my calorie goal. So I'm going to continue that and see what happens. I have a plan. I have a goal. We'll talk about it in February. We'll see what happens in January. But to get me to my goals, I have my other goals, which are honest tracking and working out consistently, which I'm pretty good at. But we got lazy over Christmas. I'm not going to lie. The workouts were not like they should have been. So we're all back on track, and it's where we need to stay. So that is it. That is all I have for you, my friends. I know tracking's a pain in the butt. Just do it. Just for one day. Just one day. One meal. One meal. Watch me, and whatever meal it is, just go track it. And then track your next meal. Don't think, oh my God, I have to track every meal for the rest of my life. Because that's going to make you crazy. Track one meal at a time. One meal at a time. Break it down. We got this. So my friends, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and comment. If you know someone who could benefit from this video, please feel free to share it with them. And that's all I have for you today. I'm going to link a couple older videos over here because I have lots of new subscribers in this new year. So go and see what my journey has been like and some other little tips and tricks I have for you. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.